take my comfort anywhere. Dry white scratches on a sunburned shin.
How you doing, vinyl community? Wanted to bring you a video about records I've pulled out of my collection from years gone, going back to my roots, going back to my indie roots, I suppose, what I listened to a lot in the 90s and 2000s, sort of comfort zone stuff, comfort food, you might say. Sometimes when you get more into listening to, experimental music or experimental things or difficult music or avant-garde things and just going down these paths of very niche sounds, sometimes it's nice to go back to listen to stuff that's just very immediate for you, very nostalgic, more song-oriented, less sort of out there soundscapes and things. And so every now and then I need to go back and do that. That's why I have a wide array of records like here. So, but at the same time, I still am going down those roads of experimentation and avant-garde. I just did a radio show today focused on all different kinds of avant-garde music. So that's Threading the Needle. I'll link to that below if you're not familiar with that. I do that radio show roughly every other week on Saturdays at 11 a.m. Life gets in the way sometimes, so I have to take them off. But I'm getting those shows in and archiving them at Mixcloud and via my own podcasting. So, but yeah, over the last week, I've been listening to all this stuff. Wilco is a band I go back to when I'm needing that. I'm a huge Wilco guy. Never really was huge on Uncle Tupelo. Like them. No, don't have any of the records. I think I have a CD of Anodyne. Always been more of a Wilco person. The latest Wilco records are still good. They got a little soft in the middle, and then they've gotten good again, but still not to the heights of their early things. And I pulled out AM because there's this new Rhino hi-fi version of this. This is the first reissue that Rhino did when they still had the band. This one has aged very well to me. It's their most country-ish album, most rootsy album, but there's some great songs on here. The one that I can't get out of my head is Pick Up the Change. That one's constantly running around in my head. But yeah, this one is, I got this from my old job, so there's a cut in the barcode. This was just a free promotional copy. I think it's identical to the next Rhino reissue, I think. It still includes the sealed CD. They used to do this. Let's see what's in the dead wax. I forgot to check. The original Wilco pressing of AM is in a PVC sleeve on red vinyl from '95. So this, I think the newer one is Bellman. I'm not seeing that in the dead wax here. Just, only the catalog number and basically matrix number. I don't see any initials for anything else. Let's see if it says it here. Remastered by Robert Ludwig. Probably digitally sourced. I don't know. I'll have to look that up. But it does say remastered by RL. So there's that. It is 180 gram. But I do enjoy this record. This is just when it was like Tweedy and Sturrott. And this is before even Jay Bennett joined the band. So still, I'm going to stick with this version. Don't think I'd ever buy the original of that. I mainly have, when it comes to these early records, the reissues. I pulled out Being There too. I like Being There is one of my favorite records. It's definitely in the top 5 for Wilco. This is when they really start going for it, bringing in like different textures and indie rock or noise rock, or not noise rock, but just sort of like screeching squall and stuff amidst sort of like some pretty songs like Far Far Away, Forget the Flowers. Sunken Treasure and Misunderstood, the first track on A and side C, are both incredible. This is from, 96 I think it is? This is from the same reissue series as the AM. And I also pulled out Star Wars, their record from 2015, one of their later period records that I think is excellent. It's a short record. Giant barcode. Some cool songs on here. Kiss the Ceiling. Like that one a lot. So those are the Wilco records I listened to this week. I also pulled out similar sounds but different band, Magnolia Electric Company, their final studio record. Obviously because I just finished the tour with Coke Dares, three of the members of the Coke Dares. The Coke Dares is a trio were in this band, and they play on this record, of course. This is the final studio record, as I said. Jason Molina passed a couple of years after this. This isn't the best Magnolia Electric Company, but it's good. It's definitely one of their more rootsy, twangy albums for sure. Secretly Canadian, right? Yeah. Or is it? Yeah, it's Secretly Canadian. All the songs of high-end Magnolia Electric Company appear there. So pull that out. So you'll see some older stuff here, and then some other stuff that's more recent that I just wanted to play again. This is what we're listening to. Spokane, Little Hours, a bit of a slowcore record, sort of not very well known at all. They're on the Jaguar label. Mostly CDs in this band. 2007 this came out. It's a nice, gentle record. I don't know who else came onto this. People that might have been involved. Robert Dunn is on this from Stars at the Lid. Billy Bennett Quillen, Champ Bennett, Jimmy Anthony, Liza Kate Walter, Rick Alverson, and Courtney Bowles are Spokane. But Robert Dunn of Stars of the Lid appears here. Nice record. I've had this since 2007. So this is the cover. Mainly CD band. I think they have a 7-inch and everything else is CD except for this record. Yes, one of the most classic indie rock bands. I should bring back the classic indie rock series. Built to Spill, their first album for Warner Brothers. Per a lot of people, their favorite. It's definitely up there for me. This is a double LP. This is the first reissue. It came out. It was one of those things where they were signed to Warner Brothers, but Up Records still released the vinyl. It was one of those things. Back in the day, a band like that would get signed to majors, but then the indie label would still release the vinyl. So that's what was going on here. But this is a Warner Brothers reissue. So they retained the vinyl later. This originally came out in 97 on CD. Up Records put out the vinyl in 97. I think that's about a $100 record, but I'm cool with this reissue. It was just promo cut because it was just given to me at work. So great band, great album. This is sort of one of their more towering, sort of like arty records. Big guitar album, longer songs, less poppy than There's Nothing Wrong with Love, or even the next one, Keep It Like a Secret. Recorded in Seattle. This came out in 97. Oh, mastered by Howie Weinberg, which is interesting, of Warner Brothers, I believe, at that time. Include some other people on here. Anyway, there's cello on this. Yeah, this is their first major label effort, and it's good. Here's one from a band that's pretty obscure. This is a pretty new record. XX. This is on the West 25th label, the Superior Viaduct label that sort of specializes in. It's their arm of that label that releases new music. And this band is Australian, from 2018, mastered by Mikey Young. This is like a dub post-punk album, but with a sort of This Heat or like sort of bit of like a Liars thing going on, maybe. This is they have a few other records. I can't read what this says. The End of Two Thoughts, An End of Two Thoughts, Ahead of Two Thoughts. I think they have 2 or 3 records. Good. Some of these I'm listening to pull out just to see if I still like them. I still like them. A great album by the Sky Green Leopards. You can find this for $5 right now. Really good, hooky, soft, but like nice indie pop, sort of indie folk, you might say. This band was the Jeweled Antler, one of the Jeweled Antler bands. They're on Woodsis, or this was on Woodsis. The Jeweled Antler stuff is way more abstract and sort of like frayed guitars and like field recordings, but then they kind of went in a more sort of song-based structure type scene, or song-based sort of direction on records like this. This one is called Family Crimes, the Sky Green Leopards. This has got to be 10 years old now. Donovan Quinn is in this, and Glenn Donaldson. You'll know those names if you're familiar with the Jeweled Antler. 2014. There you go. So yeah, there's the low price on this. I happened to look this up. It's like $5. Another band I come back to quite a bit, but I only pulled out one of their records, is Califone, and this is basically their first studio album reissued with extra tracks on it, Room Sound. This is originally from like 2000, 2001. Yeah, debut full length. Pitchfork hype sticker. There's something elemental about Califone. Similar to that Rev hype sticker you might have heard about. But yeah, if you don't know Califone, this has got like double inner sleeves and everything. It's the expanded edition of this. It came out on the Perishable label on CD, and I forget who did the vinyl originally. It might have been like Fly Daddy or something like that. I don't have that. I have the original CD because I bought this when it came out, but the record got reissued maybe 5-6 years ago. Anyway, this band is sort of folk in structure, but they bring in a ton of like that sort of loose, sort of like there's an experimentation aspect to it, but a lot of like clickety clacks and just various instrumentation. Yeah, it's not straight ahead at all. Just really cool and interesting productions and arrangements with like a bit of a slack feel to it, but sort of lazy in a cool way. And like I said, just various instruments used. It's not straight like guitar, bass, drums kind of thing. There's creaky pianos and like broken guitar type sound, and Tim Rutilli from Red Red Meat, his voice is, you know, really sort of like crack and wooden, and just a nice feel to his production.
Drowned and drinking the light. God's eyes are closed, just like yours.
I also pulled out Loftus. Loftus is Tim Rutilli as well. This is pre-Califone, recorded in August of 96, September of 96. This is a Jealous Butcher. I think this was like a first time on vinyl type thing. It came out on CD. But this includes some Tortoise members, some like tertiary Tortoise members like Brian Deck, Doug Sharon, who was in June of 44, Tim Rutilli, of course, Bundy K. Brown, Ben Massarella. Ben Massarella and Tim Rutilli and Brian Deck are basically Califone. But if you like Califone, you'll love this. This is like a one-off record by Loftus. Is somebody, I don't know why it's called Loftus. I think it's Bundy K. Brown. It's really his project, I think. And you might be able to find this reissue out there. I don't know. Or this first time vinyl issue. I highly recommend it if you like Califone. I talked about this record, but I played it, Mogwai 10 Rapid, who Jack informed me that 10 Rapid in Scottish, I forgot to mention, showing a Scottish record for Jack, who's Scottish, on that seven genres that you don't normally show, although this was the UFO topic, but I showed it in the same video. Anyway, Mogwai's from Scotland, and he informed me 10 Rapid means 10 quick punches to the face. So yeah. Originally issued, I think, in 99 on Jet Set in the US, but it's a singles comp. 97. I played Pavement, The Secret History, which is essentially the vinyl edition of all the tracks bonuses on the CD expanded CD of Slanted and Enchanted. They haven't done those on vinyl except for Bright in the Corners. That's the only one that came out as a vinyl deluxe box set. Everything else was a CD deluxe. But The Secret History kind of gives you all of those bonus tracks that are on the expanded Slanted and Enchanted standalone. So it's a double album, and the Pavement B-sides are incredible. They're almost as good, or if not as good, as the album tracks. I shouldn't say B-sides, I should just say sort of leftover songs. There's all kinds of cool stuff on here. There's Peel Session, and then there's Live, which, like I said, is what's included on the CD Deluxe. You have the Trigger Cut single, Slanted Sessions, and like mostly Peel Sessions after that, but it's just great stuff on this. This is, I think, out of print. I don't know if you can get this right now. The Secret History by Pavement. I pulled out a Microphones album. This is also from the century. It Was Hot, We Stayed in the Water, original pressing on K Records. I don't know if you can see it, but it pops out. It's a pop-up. Really great. Microphones is that soft voice of Phil Elverum with like distorted drums, lo-fi, a bit of a beautiful feel to them, but very specific sound. You know when you're listening to the Microphones. Their most classic record is The Glow Part 2, which came out right after this, but this one's great and one that is going for some money, or going for some dough, as they say. Don't know if it's been reissued. This is the original press. I bought this back when it came out. It Was Hot, We Stayed in the Water by Microphones. Of course, that would turn into Mount Erie. Mount Erie, yes. There's more Mount Erie records at this point. I used to have one or two. I don't think I have those anymore. I think I purged them, but I have like 3 or 4 Microphones records. Similar sounding Bedhead. I've talked about Bedhead, the Kinnaid brothers. This is their second LP on Trans Syndicate. One of my favorite indie bands, bar none. Of course, Slowcore is sort of the name of the game with them, but just love the dual guitar style from Matt and Bubba Cadane. This also came out on Trans Syndicate. Numero Group has been reissuing their records. Perhaps they're going to reissue one that has not been reissued before, which has been tied up in licensing hell. The split with Matcha only was on CD. One I would love to see come out on vinyl. That everything that was in that Bedhead box set for Numero Group did not include that EP with Matcha. So we'll see if Numero Group has the rights to that. As apparently it seems like they're getting the Athens, Georgia band Matcha's records to come out or reissued. I think those were CD only, so that should be cool. The Sixths, Wasp's Nests. Yeah, I've been listening to a little bit of Magnetic Fields, but I decided to go with The Sixths, which is Stephen Merritt's project that he made for other vocalists to sing. He writes all the songs and he gets all these other vocalists to sing. And this originally came out as like one of those 7-inch box sets, but a few years ago, Captured Tracks, actually, along with Universal Music and Republic Records. Yeah, this was like a major label release originally. They reissued this for the first time in 12-inch format. I think this is out of print too. Yeah, it says first time on LP because it did exist on a 7-inch set. But Stephen Merritt does sing on one song here, but otherwise you have Barbara Manning, you may know, Mary Timony of Helium and various projects, Dean Wareham of Galaxy 500, Yako Akashiba, Mitch Easter, the producer, Mac McCon from Superchunk, Georgia Hubley from Yola Tango, Lou Barlow, of course, Sebadoh, Amelia Fletcher, you'll know her, Robert Scott of The Clean and the Bats, Anna Domino, don't know her, Mark Robinson of Unrest, Jeffrey Underhill, forget who that is, and Chris Knox. So quite the lineup of singers. A few of those I don't remember off the top of my head, you'll probably remind me. Amelia Fletcher was in that band, Tallulah's Ghost, I think. But there's 2 Sixth records. The other one isn't very good. This is the one to get, Wasp's Nest. Like super hooky songs, and that's what Stephen Merritt did so well, or does so well. All the Magnetic Fields records, including 69 Love Songs, are just pop perfection. Movie Tone. I'm still missing one Movie Tone album. This is their 2000 record, The Blossom-Filled Streets. It was on, I think, the Planet label in the UK and Drag City. This is out of print too. This has gone up in value. I don't know if Drag City is going to repress it. Usually they do, but beautiful sort of post-rock with like a abstract guitar sound, hushed vocals, lo-fi a little bit. I love this band. Sort of tied to Flying Saucer Attack with Rachel Brooke, who was in that band. But yeah, there's clarinet on this and some string, like cello and string bass and stuff like that, which kind of what makes Movie Tone stand out. But there is a bunch of clarinet and woodwinds and things on this, so yeah, all the Movie Tone records are great. I have some singles, and I have all the LPs. I'm just missing the Day and Night album. It's the only LP I'm missing, actually, Movie Tone. A couple more. Polvo, my favorite Polvo record. The early ones are great too, but this is the one I usually reach for. Exploded Drawing on Touch and Go. This is a first time reissue, but it's the identical same lacquers I checked. It's so it's basically it's just as good as if you're getting the original. It's got golden in the dead wax, so yeah. So it's the same plating as the original. So I don't know if this is available still, but this, I got this a while ago, even 15 years ago. Awesome guitar album. What can you say? Angular guitar album. Exploded Drawing. Love the cover. Out of North Carolina. Cindy Lee. I decided to pull out this Cindy Lee. I have two other Cindy Lee records. Diamond Jubilee has been gotten so much acclaim, but this Act of Tenderness, it's good too. It's not as good. Diamond Jubilee is a masterpiece. 3 LPs long. I mean, I think just about every track is incredible. But this is great. This is a little more harsh and noisy at times, but still has that sort of old-time vocal, pop vocal, sort of like Phil Spector-esque production. Yeah, I had another one, but I gave it away as VCLT, and that's like all the Cindy Lee records are crazy, out of print and go for money. But Cindy Lee is Patrick Flegel of Women, if you didn't know. And this record is from 2018, Act of Tenderness. This will get repressed. If anyone's interested in finding these, they'll get repressed, I believe. This was West 25th, just like the exec. And I pulled out a Gastr del Sol. I've been listening to some David Grubbs. And I pulled out, what is this album from 97, 98 again? Drag City, the greatest label on land, sea or water. Camoufleur with Jim O'Rourke. This is their one of the one that, if you like Yankee Hotel Foxtrot and Jim O'Rourke's work on that, this one will be one for you to hear. You can hear a lot of what Jim O'Rourke does from a production side. This has just been repressed by Drag City, and I would get that repressed. This is the original one from way back when. But again, Drag City typically keeps things in print and it's not a reissue, a remaster or anything, but it's going to be the same plating probably. David Grubbs, Jim O'Rourke, Marcus Pop with Jeb Bishop on trombone, Steve Booters, Edith Frost is on here, another great artist. Rob Mazura, there's all kinds of people on. John McIntyre of Tortoise is on here. Ken Vandermark. But recorded by Jim O'Rourke and Phil Bonnet at Solid Sound. And some of this at Soma, John McIntyre's Soma. Gorgeous album. This is one of their more nuanced records with, like I said, it compares well to what Jim O'Rourke would produce and do for Wilco's Yankee Hotel Foxtrot and Ghost is Born. So, yeah, those are the sort of like comfort food records I pulled out just this last week, which is be a nice sort of contrast to what I'm about to show soon. Some of the crazy records I found for the 2025 target list. All right, that's it. I wanted to put that out there before I filed all these back away. So I hope you enjoyed that little blast from the Dom past here, Seeking a Thread. I'll talk with you soon.